So it's summer, finally here in Germany, and yes, we had a couple of hot days, but I feel like now we actually are in summer because over the last few days, not today, but over the last few days, we had the hottest days ever, if I understood it correctly, in Germany. We had like 38 degrees Celsius over the last few days, which obviously is extremely hot for a country or for a city this far up in the north. Um, and I personally enjoy it quite a lot. For Woody, obviously, it wasn't that great. But now we have a cloudy day. It's about 22 degrees Celsius outside. So still warm. Not as warm like I would like because, yeah, I don't know. My running temperature is 28 degrees, I would argue. But I really wanted to talk about this really beautiful thing of how smells, climate, and stuff like that can kind of trigger some very positive memories. So when I was a kid, my parents and I went to Indonesia basically every summer. That was basically before the time where everything in our family unfortunately crashed and we lost our house. But before that, we basically went to Indonesia every single summer. And I personally, as a kid, obviously enjoyed it a lot, being in a different country and having the ability to kind of experience not only flying. I mean, I actually remember the time where people were allowed to smoke in planes. That was crazy. I remember that vividly because the first year I really smelled all of that, and then they kind of forbid it, but still had the ashtrays in the armrests of the seats. So I remember that kind of really disgusting smell of cold smoke, and then I also remember me as a kid playing with the ashtray because it had this kind of this lid that you can kind of when you push it, it went up and push it down. So I, as a kid, I remember playing with that quite a lot. And one of the things that I always remember is arriving in Jakarta or anywhere in Indonesia and getting out of the airport, and this heat wave kind of hits you in the face in combination with smog, this distinctive smell or fragrance. My wife called it smell. I kind of call it fragrance of Jakarta. I think has gotten a little bit better over the years, but there was a time when I was, I don't know, 8 or something, where it was really bad in Jakarta. And this combination of smog, street food, like all of those, I don't know, it's called satay. It's like these skewers with meat, and they have peanut butter sauce on it, and they kind of grill it on the streets on the outside. So you have all of these different smells of food, the heat kind of blasting in your face, smog, and stuff like that. And it kind of is deeply anchored in my memories, in my brains. And whenever we have this kind of heat here in Germany, and you can not necessarily smell food or smog or dirt or waste, but you have this heat. And I always remember that first day when coming to Indonesia and getting kind of hit with all of that, and it triggers so many good memories. And it um, is basically what I was saying yesterday. It's for me, yes, you could kind of focus in air quotes on those negative things like smog, but for me it triggers these memories of, oh, I'm now in a country where I don't really understand people, but everyone is really nice. I don't know, it's it might be a cliche, but for me personally, um especially, I know I'm not a foreigner in from a visual perspective in Southeast Asia, but from what I understand, anyone who's living there sees that I'm not local. I guess someone told me the way I walk and obviously the way I speak makes them notice right away, okay, that person is not from here. Yet, I feel like everyone is so nice over there, and it is such a different mentality where instead of here in Germany, sometimes people opt to be hesitant of someone new and kind of wonder, okay, what does that person want from me? While in Southeast Asia, from my personal experience, it's more of the, okay, let's smile at that person first and be friendly instead of questioning what that person potentially wants from me. Um, so there's always a different vibe and a little bit of a friendliness and positivity. And don't get me wrong, it's not always. And I get there are problems, and sometimes you have to deal with shitty humans. Generally, are shitty no matter where they come from. But from my perspective, the people's vibe leans a little bit more towards the positive side opposed to the negative side, or not negative. Germans aren't negative. I'm not negative either, but it's more of the, let's be a little bit careful. And Hamburg specifically, many people say that in Hamburg it's so difficult to find new friends. I hear that a lot from expats who are living here. And while I don't see that, hear it a lot, and I feel like that comes down to people are, for the lack of a better description, a little bit more careful and reserved in front of other people that they don't know. While I feel like in Southeast Asia, like Thailand and Indonesia, people are more likely to, okay, let's be friendly first before kind of um, question that. And I attribute that to somewhat of a, um, also, this might sound a little bit harsh, but I don't know how to better describe it, from more rural, less developed perspective. They are more curious. If you, for example, and I don't want to offend one, but I don't know how to describe it better. When I was younger, most of the times we were in small little villages. So all of the kids, all of the people were more likely to be curious about, oh, where's that person coming from? And it's the same thing here in Germany in some village, some, not all, but some villages where people are curious. Sometimes they are racist, but sometimes they're also curious, oh, where you're from. And I feel like in a big city, you're less likely to see that. And especially in Southeast Asia, or maybe not Bali, but in Jakarta, I feel like it's less likely that you see a foreign. There are. I'm oversimplifying here, so please bear with me. I'm trying to get a point across by oversimplifying, but I feel like it's not likely to see that many outsiders in the air quotes, so people are more likely to be curious about you. And I feel like in the city or in Germany, in big cities here, it's more likely that you get scammed or whatever. um, in Indonesia as well. So again, I'm oversimplifying here, and I know already some comments are saying, "Oh, yeah, but you have racism there. You have racism everywhere, or you have terrible people there." Yeah, you have that everywhere. I'm just speaking here from my personal experience, and again, I know that I'm oversimplifying here, but with that in mind, I have more positive memories of my time in Asia than negative. So every time I get hit by these smells of summer, I always get kind of teleported back to those days. And I find it so fascinating that smells taste also. My wife had a bubble tea. We always opt for bubble tea with the taro coconut taste with tapioca pearl bubbles, and she opted, okay, let's try something different. So she went for jasmine tea with lychee flavor and I believe it were mango bubbles, and that tasted so much like something we drank in Indonesia that we both were like all the way back in Bali. And I think it's so cool that taste and smells are so vividly connected to your memories. And yeah, I don't know. This video has no point. I'm just saying I'm very fascinated and I'm so happy to have these positive memories, and I think it is so important to concentrate on the positives rather than the negatives. So yeah, that was just my short little rambling. Maybe check out my video from yesterday where I kind of talked about focusing on positive memories instead of the negative ones. Check it up here. YouTube thinks they like the video down here. Don't forget subscribe by clicking the button up here. That way we see each other in the next video. Thank you very much.